Anti-piracy measures in video games aren't anything new. This is when developers implement a specific sequence into their game that only appears once a pirated version is detected. This can be a piece of text, intentional bugs or glitches, or even game-breaking mechanics. Today, I'd like to explore the wonders of real anti-piracy methods and clear all the rumors on the fake fan-made ones. I mentioned covering this topic in my Easter eggs video and you guys really seem to enjoy the idea. So please, join me as we take a look into the creepy world of anti-piracy methods in video games. Hey guys, welcome to the first video of December. I'm telling y'all, I'm back to actually uploading, alright? I'm back. I am fully back. We're gonna get videos every single week. Also, as you guys can see, I'm being a little bit festive, and Danny is too. In case you guys didn't know, I have an album coming out in January, so this month I'm getting ready for it. All the songs are done. In case you guys don't know, I make music. I think everyone knows that by now. But yeah, the name of the album is Ear Candy. It's gonna have 10 tracks, and we're gonna have a whole Ear Candy movie premiering on this channel sometime in January, so I just want to get you guys ready for that. And also, if you guys got notification that I uploaded a video called Life in Prison for a TikTok. That was a YouTube short. It was accidentally put on the main channel section because it was a minute and 1 second. So that's a little piece of advice. If you guys upload a short and it's 1 second over 1 minute, it's gonna notify everyone. So shorts aren't supposed to notify everyone. I mean, I guess you guys know that I make shorts now, so that's pretty cool. And that thing right there on my bed is my cat. That is Mojo. He is just sleeping. Let me zoom in on him. Buddy drank too much eggnog. Bruh. Hey, it's the holiday season. I can't blame him. But anyway, let's get to the topic at hand. Since we're gonna be talking about anti-piracy screens and anti-piracy methods, we first have to clear up the rumors. In late 2020 and early 2021, creating fake and creepy anti-piracy screens became a huge trend. Though they aimed to be creepy, most of them just ended up being extremely corny and spreading a huge amount of false information. So I'm about to list a bunch of anti-piracy screens that are fake. Mario Kart Wii, fake. Yes, both of them. Mario Party DS, fake. Nintendogs, fake. I mean, they literally kill your dog. Nintendo wouldn't do that. Actually, with the way Nintendo treats their fans, they probably would. Pokemon Platinum, fake. Super Mario Kart, fake. Tomodachi Life, fake. Among Us, fake. Here's a rule of thumb. If it looks corny, it's probably fake. Now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about some games with some real anti-piracy measures. Earthbound. Earthbound released in 1994 for the SNES and included multiple anti-piracy measures. Back in the day, obtaining pirated versions of cartridge games was kind of a hassle. I mean, just look at this thing. So basically, you'd buy this illegal SNES attachment, and it would allow you to read floppy disks instead of cartridges. So pirates would make a business out of selling floppy disks on the low for cheap. Some games like Earthbound could actually identify the game chip as not by Nintendo, prompting this message. This game pack is not designed for your Super Famicom or Super NES. After that, the game will check if the part of the cartridge that saves game files is less than 8 kilobytes, since fakes usually have more. Credit to CWilly HD for that information. If it does, then you'll get this message. It is a serious crime to copy video games. 18 USC 2319. Please refer to your Nintendo game instruction booklet for further information. Hackers then found a way to bypass this, but the game had more tricks up its sleeve. It'll spawn a ton of random enemies, making the game harder to beat. Though if the player somehow makes it to the final boss battle with Gygus, the game will abruptly freeze. And once the player resets the SNES, they'll realize that their saved data has been deleted. Gold Rush. This game was made for the Macintosh in 1988 and was set in 1848, just before the California Gold Rush. The player is Brooklyn newspaperman Jared Wilson, who soon receives word that he has to go to Sacramento to meet his long-lost brother. After a few minutes of gameplay, word arrives that gold has been found in California, and it becomes much more difficult for Jared to settle his affairs in Brooklyn, then finding a way to Sacramento. But if a pirated version is detected, the game will taunt you by giving you a trivia quiz and quite literally tells you that the answer is in the game manual, which a pirate wouldn't have. Specifically page 36 in the 4th paragraph. Then it says gotcha and your in-game character is hung. Yeah, he's hung. Mirror's Edge. Mirror's Edge is an action-adventure platformer developed by DICE and published by EA. The game released in 2008 and was released for Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, with the PC version being followed the next year. Set in a near-future society, the game follows the story of Faith Connors, an underground parkour courier who transmits messages while evading government surveillance. To progress through the game, the player controls Faith from a first-person perspective and completes a bunch of levels that involve performing a sequence of acrobatic maneuvers, including jumping between rooftops, running across walls, and sliding down zip lines. It's basically a really cool parkour simulator, and the developers added a really interesting anti-piracy measure that has to do with Faith's speed. You see, the game is about running and jumping, and what do you need to do in order to have a successful run and jump? That's right, speed. So in pirated versions of the game, Faith begins to slow down as you approach a jump. Which means you die over and over and over again, leading the player to not be able to proceed in the game. How about you run over to get yourself a real copy of the game? Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, let's head on to the next one. The Secret of Monkey Island. The Secret of Monkey Island is a 1990 point-and-click graphic adventure PC game, developed and published by Lucasfilm Games. It takes place in a fictional version of the Caribbean during the age of piracy. I'm talking about these kinds of pirates. Anyway, their anti-piracy measure was actually pretty smart and featured a physical aspect. In the box set, a wheel would be included named Dial a Pirate. The game would ask you to enter the correct numbers based on the faces matched. Think of it as a 1990s CAPTCHA. Though the numbers were all the same, the internet wasn't big back then, which most likely led to people either giving up or buying a legit copy. But still pretty cool they designed a wheel. I mean, they could have just used like a license code on the back of the manual, but hey, it's always nice seeing game developers implement physical features into their games. Arma 2. Arma 2 is an open-world first-person shooter. It has open battlefields, a ton of different weapons to try, and over 100 vehicles the player could control. The developers also included an anti-piracy package called Degrade. This causes the game to change slightly over time until it's eventually unplayable. The first change is that the accuracy of the player's weapons will begin to worsen. The game then begins causing the screen to become wavy, simulating the effect of playing while drunk. And finally, the game will begin to fill the screen with Arma 2 logos. Alan Wake. Alan Wake, released in 2010, is an action-adventure video game developed by Remedy Entertainment. The story follows best-selling thriller novelist Alan Wake as he tries to uncover the mystery behind his wife's disappearance during a vacation in a small fictional town named Bright Falls, Washington, all while experiencing events from the plot in his latest novel. The anti-piracy measure in this game is actually really lighthearted. All it was Alan wearing a pirate eye patch throughout the entire game. Yes, it's still beatable, it's not game-breaking, just a little cosmetic item from the developers to let the pirates know, hey, we know what you guys are doing. Garry's Mod. Garry's Mod is a 2006 sandbox game developed by Facepunch Studios and published by Valve. The game really has no set objectives and provides players with a world in which they can freely manipulate objects. First, when players try opening up a cracked version, they'll get this error notification: engine error, unable to shade polygon normals. The message also contains the user's Steam ID, which is purposely done by developers so that pirates would go on forums and input the code. You know, they'd go on forums, be like, hey, I got this error and this is the code next to it, which then led to 2,500 pirates being identified in the first 15 hours, and presumably being banned for just outing themselves on forums. The creator of Garry's Mod and owner of Facepunch Studios said on a blog post, "I did this for the people that did buy Garry's Mod. They get to point and laugh at pirates. If we leave it easy for people to pirate, we're betraying the people that paid. The legit users need to see you taking steps to make it harder for pirates, or they just end up feeling like they should have saved their money and pirated too." Spyro, Year of the Dragon. Spyro Year of the Dragon seems to be a fan favorite when it comes to anti-piracy measures in video games, and after doing my research, I understand why. The game starts off fairly normal until about 30 minutes into the average playthrough when you approach Zoe. Zoe is supposed to help Spyro along the way by giving him advice. Here's an example of one of her pieces of dialogue.
"This Rhinoc is too big to charge. You'll have to flame him using the circle button."
But in a pirated copy, she'll say this instead.
"I'm sorry, Spyro, but you seem to be playing a hacked version of this game. This may be an illegal copy. Since this copy has been modified, you may experience problems that would not occur on a legal copy."
After this, many random events begin to occur. I'll list some intentional bugs devs included in order to make a pirater's life extreme hell. Your eggs and gems will be reset, enemies are harder than usual, the ability to pause can be removed, doors lead to random locations, in the UK version the language will change at any given point, and a lot of other things. So you need eggs to complete the game, but in the pirated version, they just sometimes randomly despawn from your inventory. Since the removal of the eggs is based on RNG. RNG means random number generator, which means it's just random chance. The game is actually somewhat playable, but I'm telling you, you'll end up ripping your hair out before you actually have fun. And even if you somehow make it to the final boss fight, well, this happens. yup, your game is just reset. Proto here on YouTube decided to actually do a playthrough of the anti-piracy version, and even their description reads, "The goal was to show full uncut footage. I was tired and later on it was taking a toll on me. Treat this like a casual 100% playthrough, nothing fast or skillful." And just so you get an idea of it timing wise, the any percent speedrun world record for Year of the Dragon is 23 minutes and 58 seconds, and the only full-length pirated playthrough on YouTube is 8 hours, 20 minutes, and 29 seconds. Gavid Dodd, an Insomniac developer, actually explained why they chose to add a more than usual amount of anti-piracy measures in their game. Now that the meat of Year of the Dragon's crack protection had been implemented, it was time to move on to the second stage, slowing down the crackers as much as possible. We had actually tried to make the protection as difficult as possible to understand, mixing in the checksum code with regular game code, and using different implementations so that it would be hard to understand. We thought that if the crackers couldn't understand what we had done, it would be a lot harder for them to crack the game. We wanted to make it hard enough to reduce the pool of people capable of cracking it. If there are only a couple of pirates with enough skill to crack a game's protection, it might take them a week or two to get around to it. Unfortunately, with Year of the Dragon being such a high-profile game, this was probably wishful thinking. Thus, we wanted to make the job of cracking Year of the Dragon time-consuming and tedious. If we could just keep the crackers busy at finding the protection, that's time taken away from them working out how to remove it. Again, we were trying to reduce the pool of people available who could crack the game. Not every cracker would have enough time available to make the crack work. It probably isn't anyone's day job. On this note, it's worth pointing out that for most crackers, this is a hobby. If they get bored, they may well give up. We try to make the crackers wade through plenty of chaff before finding the protection. Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks. The Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks, released in 2009, is a Nintendo DS exclusive. Set a century after Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker, the storyline follows the current incarnations of Link and Princess Zelda as they explore the land of New Hyrule to prevent the awakening of the Demon King Malladus. Players navigate New Hyrule, completing quests that advance the story and solving environmental dungeon-based puzzles, many requiring the DS's touchscreen and other hardware features. Navigation between towns and dungeons is usually done with a train, which features its own set of mechanics and puzzles. Usually when Link operates the train, there are controls on the touchscreen that let you speed up, slow down, or stop the train. But when playing on a pirated copy, these controls are simply missing, leading you to be stranded and thus making the game unplayable. Hey guys, I quickly want to interrupt the video to talk to you guys about Earl. We have a new Christmas collection and we also have the new tie-dye t-shirts. So I do want to apologize to certain people that tried buying this new drop because we actually had a glitch where no one could buy the new drop. It was so annoying. I didn't know. I just found out while editing this video. So I truly am sorry to those people that wanted to buy everything part of the new drop. So I'm going to quickly tell you guys what we have. We have Earl with his dick in a box. We have the Winter Earl University along with the zip-up version. Gingerbread Earl and Earlette. Earl and Earlette wrapped up, Earl Hot Chocolate, Mistletoe, and Snowman Earl. Again, guys, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm so annoyed. I was wondering why people weren't buying. I was like, wait, why is everyone just buying like the other drop? So yeah, it was just glitched out. Everything is available to buy now. And make sure to use code EARL15. And in case you guys are wondering, I am working on a Earl plushie. It's taking a long time though, because I'm a one-man team, bruh. You guys know how difficult it is explaining how you want a plushie to look and feel when you're not there? Anyway, I'm working on a bunch of stuff like for the channel, and I'm talking about like physical stuff that you can purchase. Very exciting stuff coming to Earl. The plushie is gonna come out, but I don't know when. It's gonna be 2023 for sure. It is the holiday season, so I'll give you guys a discount. Use code EARL15 for 15% off anything at the store. And if you buy an Earl piece, make sure to tag me on Twitter and I'll retweet and like your tweet. Just make sure to go check out the site. You don't have to buy anything. I'd just like you guys to go visit the site. I worked really hard on the site, so just check it out. EarlDoesn'tExist.com. And now let's get back to the video. Game Dev Tycoon. Game Dev Tycoon is a business simulation video game developed by Greenheart Games, released in December of 2012. This game is pretty cool. Video games are created and developed by the player. The player starts out in a garage in the early 1980s during the golden age of arcade video games, with no employees, limited money, and limited choices for the first game. New options are unlocked as new games are created. When the first game engine is built, the player's game development skills improve, and as time goes on, new consoles also get released. The game's developers actually implemented a really funny and self-aware anti-piracy measure into this game. Patrick Klug, founder of Greenheart Games, knowing that the game was likely to be torrented, purposely released a cracked version of Game Dev Tycoon and uploaded it himself to torrent sites. Gameplay in this version is identical, except for one thing. As players progress through the game, they get this message. Boss, it seems that while many players play our new game, they steal it by downloading a cracked version rather than buying it legally. If players don't buy the games they like, we will sooner or later go bankrupt. Players of the cracked version will eventually lose money and go bankrupt, and this being a result of their in-game video game being pirated. And again, in this case, ironically, some people complained that their game was bugging out, and they complained on forums. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Ring of Fates. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Ring of Fates is a Square Enix published RPG for the Nintendo DS. This anti-piracy method is a little bit different and more straight to the point. Booting up the game, you'll notice nothing out of the ordinary, but in the background, there's a 20-minute timer that the player can't see. And when the timer is done, well, the game fucking ends. Yeah, a screen comes up that says, "Thank you for playing." This is different from the ending title card that just says, "The End," and the game is unplayable following that message. This one was quite literally a demo. It's really interesting because developers could easily make like a 1-second timer. Right when you put the game in, boom, it just says illegal copy, but I appreciate how they just want to have fun with people. And honestly, it could probably increase sales. If pirates get a little taste of the game, they're like, okay, you know what, I'll go buy it. Or steal a physical copy from their local retailer. Bro, do people even go to GameStops anymore? Right? No, are GameStops extinct yet? Like, that's gonna happen like in the next 10 years for sure. Who buys physical copies of games anymore? Like, let me know in the comments. Everything's digital nowadays. Yeah, I got a little off topic. Let's get on to the next one. Grand Theft Auto 4. 2008's Grand Theft Auto 4 needs no introduction. When players would open a pirated version of the game, the camera would begin acting erratically, as if the player was drunk. It would even play during cutscenes. Whenever the player would load into one of their save files on a new boot, within 2 to 3 minutes they'll experience 3 things: drunk camera mode, damaged vehicle, and auto acceleration, without the ability to reverse. The game becomes almost entirely unplayable, but if you somehow make it through to complete some missions, you'll be met with some more anti-piracy measures. In Clean Getaway, you're tasked to steal a car for Vlad and park it in his garage, but good luck doing so since the garage won't open. Oh, and if you decide to get out of the car, well, you get locked out and are unable to progress in the game. Though the developers were smart and they figured that people would just swap save files in order to bypass that specific mission. So what did they do? That's right, more game-breaking bugs. In the mission, Uncle Vlad, after killing Vlad, you'll be faced with a never-ending loading screen. And even after getting yet another saved game file, which would be annoying to do at that point, just buy the actual game, all computers in the game are inaccessible, including police laptops. Forget about having fun in GTA 4. The developers kept going though. In 3-Leaf Clover, the mission where you rob a bank, the bank will be entirely closed off. And last but not least, if the player is somehow still using the save game file method, they won't be able to complete one of the last missions in the game. At the very end of it, the mission sequence is broken and this marker on the map won't go away. Yeah, it seems Rockstar Games doesn't like pirates at all. The Sims 4. In the Sims games, when a character does something that is normally done in private, the game will pixelate that specific area, like showering or using the toilet. To punish those players who play The Sims 4 with a pirated copy, EA decided to take this to another level. When performing one of these pixelated actions, players of the pirated copy found out that the pixelated area remains after the action is complete. The whole screen becomes pixelated, well, except for the UI. And also, my girlfriend Amber made me in Sims. I haven't seen it yet. It's on the screen right now. Do y'all think it looks like me? Here we go, side by side. Does that Sims character look like me? Alright, Amber, my subscribers gonna let you know. They gonna be honest too. Let's head on to the next one. Batman Arkham Asylum. Released in 2009, Batman Arkham Asylum also had its fair share of game-breaking anti-piracy measures. For example, pirates would soon find out Batman wasn't able to glide, like, at all. They'd become stuck right at the beginning of the game, and some grapples would randomly be disabled. Like Gary's mod, pirates would out themselves in forums by explaining that Batman was just flapping like a chicken. The Witcher 2. The Witcher 2 allows players to engage in sex with many of the game's NPCs, and sex scenes will play. Those playing on pirated copies would soon find out they're in for a surprise, because all the NPCs that the player would have sex with would have their player model replaced by an old lady named Marietta Loretto. Luckily, she remains fully clothed. Nonetheless, pretty funny and disgusting. Crysis Warhead. Crysis Warhead was a follow-up title to the overachieving original Crysis game, and this one featured another light-hearted anti-piracy measure. The player's weapon, get this, shoots chickens. These chickens don't cause any damage to enemies though, so only physical attacks are really allowed. This makes Crisis Warhead a lot more amusing to watch or play, but it also makes it nearly impossible to beat. Serious Sam 3. Players playing a pirated copy of Serious Sam 3 will initially think nothing is wrong, however that soon changes in a very odd way. The game will spawn a pink arachnoid that is immune to damage. He's incredibly fast and can attack from close and long range. It's honestly kind of scary, but you can't help but laugh once you realize they could have done anything else, but chose to spawn this fucker in instead. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Make sure to leave a like, and if you haven't, make sure to subscribe. And if you want to watch me talk about a very dangerous hard drive, make sure to go watch the last one. If you want to watch me talk about more video games, well, I made an Easter egg video that is somewhere on the screen here. Follow me on Instagram, please. Let's hit 100,000 followers before the year ends. Please, follow me on Instagram. That would be, come on, let's do it, I know we can do it. All right, that's it. And I'll see you guys next time I upload.